Welcome inside our CBS Sports Studios. I'm Adam Schein alongside the greats Kyle Long. And Kyle, boy, did the Buffalo Bills need this kind of victory. It was nice to win, obviously, after the bye, if you're a Bills fan, and nice to win after the Bills have been on a two-game losing streak. But 40-9, my goodness, in every single phase. Buffalo with Kansas City looming large next week on CBS. They needed this kind of dub.
Well, let's not peek too soon. Let's not go to the Kansas City matchup quite yet. It's still very early in this YouTube video, and I think people have to understand that this Buffalo Bills team, with the way they've been constructed, with the coaching they have in Sean McDermott, they expect to win every week. So you started this segment off saying, it feels good to win. It just feels good to win. Winning's hard in the National Football League. And when I take a look at the way that they've handled business, it's been on the ground. The running game is important. Obviously, Josh Allen can throw it. He can run it. He's one of the only guys in the history of football who's run it into the end zone that much for a quarterback. When you can change the numbers that much for a defense. And what I mean when I say change the numbers, Adam, it's 11 on 11. Until the quarterback gives the ball to somebody else. Then it becomes 10 offensive players versus 11 offensive players. There's only a handful of teams that have the, superpower at the quarterback position to be able to change the numbers and make it 11 on 11. Josh Allen can do that. Here's what stuck out to me about the Buffalo Bills today. They ran the football. Okay, they ran the football incredibly well. And when I think about historically the success that the Bills have had, even with Josh Allen at the quarterback position, it's running the football. It's being able to do both, spread the wealth. And that offensive line, led by Aaron Kromer, the offensive line coach, is special. And I put them in that top 3 category at that position every single year. And I think this game, this season, more than ever, you're going to need to see that offensive line take ownership of the offense. And when you see James Cook have the game that he did, when you see the defense be spelled a little bit, take some time to the sideline. Get your oxygen right. You can go get sacks. Okay, 216 rushing yards today, career high for James Cook. Unbelievable. And I know he had a really long, explosive run. But, take that run out, and he's still having a great day at the office. These were the yards that he got, 216 rush yards. That was in 3 quarters. They pulled him out. They had Trubisky in at the end of the game. Josh Allen was over there drinking his Gatorade, having a dang good old time. And I'll tell you what, Buffalo Bills fans, you better be excited because we've been talking about the Patriots. We've been talking about the Chiefs, as you alluded to. There's a lot of teams that are coming along. And if you're the Bills at the beginning of this season, you think, this is our year. We're going to be leading from the front the whole time. They're going to be, chasing us down, trying to figure out a way to get with the Buffalo Bills. But the script has flipped a little bit. They lost to New England 20-23. They lost to the Falcons. My God, if you saw the Falcons today, how do you lose to the Falcons, particularly if you're the Bills? But what we saw against the Carolina Panthers, I think, is indicative of who the Buffalo Bills are.
Well, you nailed it on so many different levels. And I think it's important to even go back to how I teed it up, and I even referenced Kansas City. And you said, well, that might even be a little early, but it's not. And I know we're doing a YouTube video, and obviously we're going to talk about the matchup, but that's what matters if you're a Buffalo Bills fan. How you stack up with New England after New England beat you inexplicably, if you're a Buffalo fan, a couple of weeks ago on Sunday Night Football. The fact that Kansas City is the hottest team in the NFL right now. This is all about getting the number 1 seed, getting to the Super Bowl. That's how the Bills are going to judge success.
In Buffalo.
That's it. And I think that it's such a big deal, Kyle, not just that they won, but how they won. Look, in those games you referenced against New England, Atlanta, James Cook, they didn't let him cook. You have to make sure that James Cook gets the requisite carries. Josh Allen actually early in this game today against Carolina missed a couple of layups and easy throws. He got into a rhythm. He feels great, ready for the showdown with Mahomes. Again, that's what matters here if you want to start talking about full believability for Buffalo. The defense, the run defense was great. The run defense was previously maligned. Carolina can obviously run the ball incredibly well. Two-headed monster at the running back position. So that they won, how they won, that they're ready for Kansas City and ready to beat perhaps Kansas City and make a run to the Super Bowl. That's going to be the prism we're going to judge the Buffalo Bills in all season long.
And it's not like we're talking about a Buffalo Bills team who absolutely suffocated the run game for the Carolina Panthers, because the Carolina Panthers, they had 114 yards on 28 rushes. That's 4.1 per. That's a pretty darn good clip. But The Buffalo Bills showed up on both sides of the ball and made it so that those 4.1 yards of carry, they just don't even matter because they can score at will. You can throw the ball to Khalil Shakir at the 10-yard mark. He can make one guy miss and score from 50 yards out. This guy, James Cook, is a home run waiting to happen. And I often talk about this. The most important position group on the field is the offensive line. It's the largest in numbers. There's 5 of them on the field, and it's the largest in stature. And when you got 5 guys, the right guys who aren't injured, and you've trained together all week, being able to move the line of scrimmage is something that comes relatively easy. And we see this with Cromer's bunches all the time offensively. And I think the cherry on top is Josh Allen because you can load the box and say, okay, beat us in another way. Don't just run the football. Oh, well, we got Josh Allen waiting back there who could beat you with his arm or his legs. I think it's a special group, and if this is the Buffalo Bills team, if they play with this kind of confidence, they are who we thought they were, and it's going to potentially be going through Buffalo if they can figure it out. Okay, so the matchups I have circled. Versus the Kansas City Chiefs next week in Buffalo. Okay, then you go to week 11, Tampa Bay in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. That's another huge one. I know these are interconference matchups when you're talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but that matters.
Of course.
You want to stack yourself up and see how you do against the best of the best. Those two teams are some of the best. The other one, week 15, December 14th, at the New England Patriots. That one is really shaping up to be huge. And then at home against the Philadelphia Eagles, week 17. There's a lot of these circled matchups coming up, but I think this Buffalo Bills team will show up the right way. And one thing we didn't talk about, the sack numbers, dude, 7 sacks today for the Buffalo Bills. Okay, this is a team that hasn't had 5+ in any game prior this season. This is the reason you invest in that defensive front. Guys like Hoyt that show up and they can get a sack and a half. This is the version of the Buffalo Bills that Bills fans want to see.
100%. And if this score was, 13-9, the Bills, in addition to the fans and the national press, no one's going to be thinking Buffalo is going to have a chance against Kansas City. Now, Buffalo absolutely has a chance. Now I think it becomes, and it's a short week for the Chiefs. They play on Monday Night Football. And no team right now in the AFC to me, and I picked the Bills preseason to win the Super Bowl. I stand with that pick. But no one's playing better than Kansas City. Mm-hmm. We all know that. We see it. We look at what Mahomes is doing. Rice is back. The defense for Kansas City. But now Buffalo is in position, and I know it's not apples to apples with the Panthers and the Chiefs. If Buffalo takes this game plan and they are able to execute, and I think they can at home against Kansas City, I think they beat the Chiefs, and this becomes the statement win of the year for the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see, obviously. And I know one guy who probably has a different opinion than you, and his name is Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be traveling to Buffalo next week. I can't wait to cover that game with you. But as for right now, this Buffalo Bills team, red hot. Kansas City, red hot. It's going to be an AFC slugfest next weekend.
I'm so excited about the Bills. I want to jump through this table.
Stay off my table, man.